Phenomenology is a philosophical movement during the 20th century that studies reality as subjectively experienced. The term comes from the Greek word phainómenon, which means that which appears, and logos, or study. Hence, phenomenology is generally defined as the science of phenomenon or that which appears. More specifically, it seeks to investigate the universal features of consciousness, while avoiding assumptions about the external world, aiming to describe phenomena as they appear to the subject, and to explore the meaning and significance of the lived experiences. In philosophy, phenomenology refers to the tradition began by Edmund Husserl at the beginning of the 20th century. Although the term had been used in different senses in other philosophy texts since the 18th century, it was however Franz Brentano's use of the term that became definitive for Husserl. From Brentano, Husserl took the conviction that philosophy must commit itself to description of what is given in direct self-evidence. A brief history. Phenomenology is often traced back to the Austrian-German philosopher Edmund Husserl's work, entitled Logical Investigations. It contains Husserl's attack on psychologism, the view that logic can be reduced to psychology, an account of phenomenology, as the descriptive study of the structure of the varieties of experience, as well as some concrete phenomenological analyses. Husserl's assistant at the University of Freiburg, the German philosopher Martin Heidegger, took phenomenology in a new direction. In his famous work, Being and Time, he combined Husserl's concern for legitimating concepts through phenomenology, with his interest in the question of the meaning of being. Heidegger referred to his own phenomenological investigations as fundamental ontology, bearing little relation to classical Husserlian phenomenology. Husserl and Heidegger's work had a decisive influence on the development of French existentialist phenomenology. Following Heidegger, Jean-Paul Sartre's Being and Nothingness developed a phenomenological account of consciousness, freedom and concrete human relations that perhaps defines the term existentialism. Maurice Merleau-Ponty's Phenomenology of Perception, on the other hand, uses both phenomenology and empirical psychology, in according the body a central role in the possibility of experience. Although none of the above-mentioned philosophers can be considered as classical Husserlian phenomenologists, nevertheless it was Husserl who had set their phenomenological agenda. As such, much of the contemporary interest in phenomenological topics and methodology continue to draw inspiration from Husserl's work. Key concepts. Phenomena. Phenomenology is the science of phenomena. But what are phenomena, and how should phenomenology as a science be understood? To answer this, it is useful to briefly turn to the German modern philosopher Immanuel Kant. Kant proposed the theory of transcendental idealism, which distinguishes between phenomena, or things as they appear, and noumena, or things as they are in themselves. And, according to him, we can only know about the former. In using the term phenomena, then, all major phenomenologists refer to Kantian phenomena, or to things as they appear. For them, phenomena are not mental states, but worldly things considered in a certain way. Moreover, they tend to reject Kantian noumena, or things as they are in themselves. Phenomenology, therefore, is the study of things as they appear. It is descriptive in its approach, rather than explanatory. Its central task is to provide a clear, undistorted description of the ways things appear, rather than giving, for example, causal explanations. Intentionality. First of all, the term intentionality should not be confused with the everyday meaning of the word intentional. Rather, it should be understood in relation to its Latin root, intendere, meaning to stretch out toward something. The term intentionality originated with the medieval scholastics, and was resurrected by Husserl's teacher, Franz Brentano. Husserl later on refined the term, and made it the cornerstone of his theory of consciousness. Intentionality refers to the notion that consciousness is always the consciousness of something. It is the aboutness of consciousness, that is, that consciousness is always about something. For example, seeing a cup of coffee in front of you, imagining an ideal vacation, or remembering the book you read yesterday are all acts of consciousness that have an object, namely, the cup of coffee, the vacation and the book. Now take note that whether that something is real or imaginary is inconsequential to the concept of intentionality. The object of consciousness does not have to be a physical object apprehended in perception, it can be something imaginary, a memory, etc. Consequently, these structures of consciousness, perception, memory, fantasy, etc., are called intentionalities. Phenomenological reduction. In ordinary experience, we take it for granted that the world around us exists independently of both us and our consciousness of it. In other words, we share an implicit belief in the independent existence of the world, and unconsciously, this belief permeates and informs our everyday experience. Husserl refers to this positing of the world, and everything that exists within it as independent, as something out there, as the natural attitude. This attitude is found in the empirical sciences, however for Husserl, it is problematic for philosophy. For if philosophy were to be a rigorous science, it should be free from presuppositions, including those of the natural attitude, such as the presupposition that the world and everything within it is real. For this reason, Husserl in his book Ideas 1, introduces the concept of epoche, according to which, all judgments that posit the independent existence of the world and everything within it, or the natural attitude, and all judgments that presuppose such judgments, are to be bracketed, or not to be used in phenomenological analysis. Now since all of the empirical sciences adapt the natural attitude, none of their claims therefore, Husserl argues, should be used in phenomenology. The epoche is the most important part of Husserl's phenomenological reduction, whose purpose is to open us up to the world of phenomena, that is, to how the world and the entities within it are given. In part, the phenomenological reduction enables the phenomenologist to go back to the things themselves, meaning, to the ways that things are actually given in experience. Husserl believes that it is precisely here, in the realm of phenomena, that we will find that indubitable evidence, that will ultimately serve as the foundation for all scientific disciplines. Eidetic Reduction. Husserl did not intend phenomenology to be a mere collection of descriptions about objects and consciousness. Rather, he hoped that it would be able to arrive at facts about the essential natures of phenomena and their modes of givenness. But how can phenomenology realize this if its method is descriptive, that is, a careful description of experience? Husserl's answer to this problem is a second reduction called Eidetic Reduction. The purpose of the Eidetic Reduction according to Husserl, is to bracket any considerations concerning the contingent and accidental, and concentrate on, or intuit, the essential natures or essences of the objects and acts of consciousness. This intuition of essences proceeds via what Husserl calls free variation in imagination. What is it in that object that endures amidst these variations? What is in it that is necessary or essential, without which it is inconceivable? By asking so, we will eventually come up against something that cannot be varied without destroying that object as an instance of its kind. For example, because we can easily vary the color of an apple in our imagination, from green to red, to brown or black, without affecting what it really is, that is, as an apple, means that its color is not part of its essence, or it is not necessary to its being an apple. Eidetic intuition is in short, an a priori method of gaining intuitive knowledge of essences. And these essences show themselves to us not to sensory intuition, but to categorial or eidetic intuition. If you learned something new from this video, please give it a thumbs up, follow us on Facebook, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and see you in our next ones.